Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm joined by Kevin and Ian from the Land and New Homes Network. Thanks for joining me today, chaps. The question that I want to ask you is this. Everybody tells me that land is the way to get more new homes. Is that the truth? Talk to me.
100%. Land is your currency with a house builder. It's as square and simple as that. House builders want land. They reciprocate with agents. You know, you bring them land, they give you new homes. Pretty simple.
But surely with this land is that that there's land agents doing this all the time. It's not the job of an estate agent to find a piece of land.
I disagree, as you would expect me to disagree.
Also, talk to me.
So let's break it back. An agent, a good agent, who's completely entwined in their local market, know all the vendors, or certainly know lots of people in the community, and right under their nose are sites. And I think sometimes they think that these sites just pop out of thin air when the diggers pull on site or whatever, and it's probably something that they've driven past for years and years and years, okay. And it's just happened. But it didn't just happen. It happened because somebody obviously felt that they had an angle with it. Somebody's used their planning expertise, and clearly from the seller's point of view, they've been up for doing a deal.
I mean, is it as simple as getting the local plan and just seeing where the hatched out areas where the plant?
Well, it's not just as simple as that, but yeah, absolutely. But it's looking at, and I think when we often do this exercise, and even if you took where you live, Chris, I think if everybody went back 10 years, if we taught you what we know now and then took you back in a time machine 10 years ago and you look at the developments that have happened, as Kevin said, they haven't just happened overnight. Somebody's just suddenly popped up tomorrow and said, I'm going to sell my land for development, and 2 months down the line they're building houses. So if I showed you what we know now, but clearly we need to build more houses in the UK, we don't develop enough. So if we teach you now, imagine what's going to be happening against the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the line. So we can start to identify those opportunities really early.
But that's the kill of it, isn't it? The time. Sorry,
I think it's not so much the time. I think the big piece is that for a lot of agents, and again, sort of generalising a little bit here, I think there's an assumption that it's a dark art, or you've got to be in the lucky seat when the land deals actually happen. For me, it's really simple. We've just got to get the teams focused on what to look for. And it's not all about looking for the great big site that's going to build hundreds of units. You've got to start small. So the piece where a lot of agents get to is I think they massively overthink it. So the common question that we get asked is, well, I'm getting asked to value a piece of land, but how can I value it when it's not got planning and I don't know what's going to fit on there? Short answer is, that's not your job to work out at that stage. Simple thing is, have you got a vendor that's got a site that you think might have some development potential? First thing you're going to do is either you're going to work with a local architect and get a quick feasibility scheme drawn up, or better still, make a quick call to your local developers. Say you've got a site, obviously cover your fees. We can explain about fees a bit more later on. But get yourself covered properly on fees, make the introduction, and that's then down to the developer to look at what they think is going to go on there, because it's a bit of one man's meat, it's another man's poison. So one developer might think they're going to put apartments up there, somebody else might think they're going to put houses.
And Chris, sorry, just on that point around making sure they're covered, one of the key things that I don't think in the years that the network's been going, we haven't seen one agent yet that has never really sort of nailed their contract properly. So we actually now supply those contracts, because so much of it is done on, oh, well, I've got an email to say that they'll look after us on the fee and obviously the resales, or oh no, we shook hands on it, or it's okay, I know Chris, he won't just. That's not robust business. In any other sector of their business, there's no way if I'm an estate agent and I come up, or you said to me, can you sell my house here? And I said, yeah, just sort the contracts out later. You know, we'll get us a buyer and then we'll do that. That doesn't happen. So in normal residential lettings world, so it shouldn't do in this side either.
So let's just say I'm an estate agent and I come across, say, half an acre of land, which probably around here you'll probably get about 6-7 houses on, say. What I would do is get one of these contracts, or again, as I said, this isn't a promo for Land and New Homes Networks. You could have a solicitor, but again, you've already got one. And basically, this contract basically says, if you buy this, we want this.
Yeah, it depends on how the contract's going to be structured. So it's either an acquisition or a disposal. So whoever's paying your fee, either the seller or the buyer. But the main point is that you do have robust terms down.
Would you go for the buyer, or let's just say I've got 6 developers in the town? Surely it's going to be easier to get the 6 developers to sign it because they want the land.
We would ultimately, yes, they will want the land, but ultimately we would always want that control with the owner. It's your land. We would then have control of the site. We can, and there are ways of then structuring the fee slightly differently, but it would always be the preference to have you as the landowner sign it. We would then approach those buyers.
The piece around that, Chris, is that, and the way we set our stall out, and we say this to all of the agents we work with, the default position that most agents go to is, oh, don't worry, Mrs. Vendor, we'll get our fee from the developer. If you imagine you're an agent in a town, you want to be seen that you're doing the best by your client. I'm all personally about acting for the seller. And I think, one of the big pieces we sort of position in terms of the fees, any land fee is coming out of the land deal anyway. So whether you're a vendor and you're sort of a bit begrudgingly accepting the 2% fee that we're going to push, it's far better that we work for you, because frankly, we're better off getting the fee from you as a seller, because, and we'll we'll challenge around the 2% that if they query it, because every day of the week, a house builder will happily pay an agent a 2% introduction fee by way of the acquisition for a piece of land and give you the onward sales. We think there's a better way of doing that, which is a more hybrid way, which one acts for the seller, but at the same time delivers what the agent wants, which is the future new home.
Do you think a lot of valuers might be put off by the fact, hold on a second, Mrs. Mickens asked me round, I've got this half-acre paddock at the back, and then all of a sudden we're chucking contracts in front of people?
I think that we've seen a couple of examples. There's some good and bad examples. Let me give one of the bad ones. So I did some land training presentation to a really big regional agent, and soon after with the presentation finished, this negotiator in the office came up to me and said, I think based on what you've just said there, I might have a problem. It's right, okay, let's talk it through. Well, I went to value this property with his second-hand hat on, and the property's got plenty of land with it. He said, I've sold it to a local builder, and they think they're going to build 5 houses on that. Okay, fine, what's the issue? Well, this is the area of land that it's got. Can you pull it up on your mapping software? Sure enough, looked at it. Long story short, I had to phone the owner of the business and said, you have a moral obligation to let that vendor know you should be cancelling that sale with immediate effect. He said, why? I said, because your negotiator has completely missed the trick. You've sold a piece of land. They've told you they're going to go for 5. I said, based on the numbers, you'll be looking at over 100 units on that site. We sold that piece of land to Redrow for 104 units on a subject to planning deal, which went through, and the agent's fee potential on that site overall was well over £1 million. And it would have been a missed opportunity if they'd have just sold it in the normal way. And the vendor would have then arguably had claim back on the agent because they'd mismanaged the process.
But but if someone wants to go, let's just say they want to stay in their house, do you think you're going to have any kickback from someone saying, I don't want to sign any paperwork? But then they're not serious then, are they?
No, I think so. It's no different, again, if back to a normal resi world, if you said, well, I want to sell my house, but I don't want to sign any contract, well, why not,
Okay.
Chris? If you want us to take this to market, this is what we need to do.
So basically, what we're saying in a nutshell is this: we need damn good training to spot the opportunities.
Yep.
Don't assume that everyone else is doing it,
Nope.
and make sure that you have watertight agreements that basically say, if this land gets sold, I want 2% of the fee or whatever it is. You have access through the Land and Homes New Homes Network, or they get their own system to come up with it watertight.
Not just the agreement on the land for 2%, absolutely, but also we want the security then on the future resales.
Okay, but that's the agreement through the builder. So you do have another agreement with the builder.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all tied in to
So
make
you get 2 bites of the cherry.
Yeah, absolutely. Because ultimately, from an agent's perspective, yes, those land fees are nice. That 2% chunky income that hits is brilliant. But really, what they do want those new homes of the 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 new homes, and then the reciprocal business that breeds off the back of that. That's where the juicy bit is.
Thank you for your time today, chaps. It's been absolutely enlightening, and I hope you out there in estate agency land have learnt the same as well. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
Cheers.